starting with the wreath, you all, or if you're doing a wreath, you got the 22-inch wreath. What I like to do before I start is give it a nice shake to give it a fluff. You'll see some needles fall off, don't worry. It just kind of fluffs it up because they've been packaged together like a sandwich. And we also gave you 2 zip ties, one short and one longer. We're gonna put the short one to the side and we're gonna use the long one first. So we're basically just gonna be decorating the wreaths. We're gonna create a swag. I usually go at like 10 o'clock, like off center a little bit. A decorative swag across on the wreath. So when you put the zip tie through, you kind of want to weave it through the branches, because if you don't, if you just kind of go like this, when you tighten it, you're going to get this weird little pinch point here. So if you weave it through, it alleviates that problem. I did it backwards. Okay, so you're gonna loosely put it together. We're not going tight yet. You should have gotten 4 different greens. Yes, 4 different greens. With a nice boxwood. And then we have a nice incense cedar, which has these fun little seeds at the end. And then this is called, you either got Leland or Port Orford. It's just a nice filler flat cedar. And then some nice fluffy white pine. I'm going to start with the cedars first. So we're gonna create a swag like this. So you're gonna start putting this side through, and then the next side through. Don't worry about these yet. We're gonna leave all the sticks until we're finished. Oops, wrong way. Sorry, this is my first overhead video shoot. Okay, so you got that down. I might go a little shorter because you don't need to go too crazy. The heavier this part is, the more tendency it'll pull away from your door and kind of fall forward. Next, I'm gonna use this fun incense cedar, but this is a giant piece for what you're gonna be needing on a wreath. When you make your cuts, I always go at the intersection, because then you have 2 usable pieces. That one doesn't have any beavers. And I also want to see how it's falling. So this guy's kind of leaning this way, so we're going to put it on this side. It's also, this is a pretty hefty chunk, so don't be sad that I'm cutting some off. It's okay. This is also a very nice chunk, so just look away if this makes you sad when I do this. Okay. So once you got those in place, I'm gonna move on to the boxwood. You have, the only thing you want to be careful of, I'm gonna cut these a little shorter so you can see better, but normally I leave that to the end. You want to be careful of where your swag is laying. If you go too close in, it'll look like a little funny mustache. And if you go too far out, it'll look like wings, I want to say. So you just kind of follow the curve of the wreath to get this swag in place. And then boxwood. Got a few pieces. I'm going to use 2 right now, and I might save a little bit for later, just in case. Sometimes the boxwood helps hold up the more flimsy greens because it's pretty solid. And then the last one is the white pine, which usually comes in pretty small pieces, and they're just easy to pop in there. I'm going to show you a little trick. Can you see? So it's pretty long. I was going to use both of these pieces. I'm going to cut it right at the intersection there. You can put this one in. And then if you tuck this one behind, you won't even see the cut end. And it'll just add another little texture to it back there. Okay. So you've gotten a lot of your greens in. Next is all the fun, pretty stuff. So does anybody have any questions about this part yet? No? Okay, moving on. I'm gonna get it a little tighter, not all the way tight yet. And then I'm gonna lift it up and kind of see if it'll fall. So it's hard to see, but this little bit of incense cedar is a little heavy. So I'll fix that later. All right, you have some berries, some nice winter berry, and you have 3 pine cones of varying colors. So your eye likes odd numbers, and to keep the balance, to keep it a nice visual balance, if I put the winter berry on the bottom, I'd only put 1 cone, and I'd put 2 cones up here. I personally like putting the winter berry on the top of the swag. This is a crazy piece of winter berry. If you lose some of the berries, it's okay. Don't worry. I am also going to then put only 1 cone on the top. And this is all going through that little zip tie that you put there. So this pine cone is going to help hold the cedar and the winter berry up. And then for the bottom part, just making sure I get through the zip tie. I could never get it right on the first try. Okay. So, might look a little weird. At this point, I will usually lift it up and kind of see if I like the placement. I think I might rotate that a little and kind of tuck that down a little. This is all going to get hidden by your bow, so don't worry. Because I have this little green stick here and I have a little extra boxwood, I'm going to just tuck this in front of that stick. And at this point, you could be done if you wanted to. You also have some color coordinated sticks if you would like. The caution I have is that they have to be pretty tight in, otherwise you're gonna either scratch your door or they'll get stuck in the door or they look like wings, big wings. So if you've got one stick and it has two pieces, two branchings, you're definitely gonna wanna take it down to one. And you're definitely gonna want to maybe even take this down more, but we're gonna try it. So this is, I don't know if you can see that, sorry. This is too long. It's coming all the way out to here. So I'm just gonna go crazy and snip it all the way down. So again, you could just put sticks on one side or you could do sticks on this side too. I'll do sticks on this side too. We'll go all out on this one. You're still trying to follow that curve of the wreath. And I think this is too long still. So you don't have too many like wings going on. Okay. Now it is time to get this zip tie as tight as you can get it. You think you're done, but you're not. You keep pulling till it's super tight. And then you do a little shake, make sure that nothing's coming out. And now we are going to deal with all these like sticks from the ends of the branches that are there. So the sticks from the greens that are pretty soft, you don't have to worry about so much. You just kind of snip them off. Oh, sorry, my head's in the way. Sorry. You just kind of snip them off carefully. This one's gonna go to right here. That's the bottom of a branch. Okay. Then you're gonna flip this over carefully. And you're going to snip off these green ones so it's flush with the back of your wreath and as far into the greens as you can go. They can scratch your door if they are just kind of sticking out a little. Okay. Okay, one more tight for a good measure. Everything seems fairly solid. And now you all have pre-made bows, but I will show you how to do a bow or how I make bows. There's about 500 different ways to make a bow. I am also left-handed, so whatever you see me doing, do the reverse if you're right-handed, or do the opposite if you're right-handed. I start with one tail. I'll probably go about like 8 inches, 10 inches. And odd numbers always work best visually. It's just something that our eyes like. They like odd numbers. So I'm going to make 5 loops. I make the first 2 loops. And then just to make sure the loops are the same size, I kind of pull them up together like that. And they're roughly the same size. It's good enough. And then I match the other loops off that size. So I'm pinching making a nice pinch in the center. Okay, so I have four loops. And if you just went and did your 5th loop like this, both your tails are going to end up on this side of the bow. So you want this tail to end up on this side of the bow. So you do a little twisty and flip it back on itself. And you make sure you don't let go of that pinch. And then you take your wire and you just make sure you go through the center loop and then catch all the loops behind it. And then I just kind of pull it so it's even, the wire that is, and I twist the bow as opposed to the wire to tighten it, because you'll get a tighter grip if you twist the bow. And only about 3 times, because then the wire snaps and then you're sad and you have to rewire it. Don't worry about fluffing it yet. That is the very, very last step. I always do just single point tails, but you can also do double point tails. If you do double point tails, you're just gonna wanna fold your ribbon in half. I'm gonna straighten this out, hold on. Okay, you're just gonna fold your ribbon in half and then cut a triangle off, and then you have your double point, although that was a terrible uneven double point. Okay, for the wreath, you're gonna take these wires and take them on both sides of the zip tie that you did. And then you're going to, oops, I caught a branch in there. Then don't worry, you're gonna flip it over. It's okay. I'll flip it over one more time. And again, you're gonna want to try to get this as tight as you can. So I pull it pretty tight and then just twist like that to get it tight. And this is another piece of thing that might scratch your door. So we take it and I don't know if you can see this. Take it and I just roll it on my finger and then tuck it behind the wire or the zip tie. So you don't have any sharp cut edges from the wire. Okay. All right. Then your very last step is to take your smaller zip tie. Let's see. I think it probably goes like that-ish, although this is a little bit weird. And then you're gonna put it through the back, through some of the branching and the wire frame. And you're not gonna tighten this all the way either. Just kind of loosely loop it, and that is your hanger. And you're done. Does anybody have any questions, comments, anything? No?
Would you just review again how you put the initial zip tie in when you first did it?
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I forgot I was wired to a microphone. Luckily, it's a long cord. Whoopsies. Okay. I'm going to try to get closer to this camera. So when you're doing it, Can you see? You're gonna weave it through. So you're not catching. So if you just took your zip tie and put it around all the branches, you're gonna get a pinch point. I don't know if that's helpful or not. So what you're gonna do is kind of pull back some of these branches and put your zip tie, this is, not around all the branches, but some of the branches. And then you're gonna start from there. Sorry, this is a tiny zip tie. So you're leaving this free. You're not putting this into the zip tie for the swag. Does that make sense?
So around the lower branches that are underneath the top greenery is where the zip tie goes.
Yeah, it's going all the way around your wreath, but you want to make sure that you're not pinching these top branches in there. So
Right, okay.
You will catch some of these branches, but you're not going to want to catch them all. Any other questions? Really? Awesome. That was about 25 minutes, not too bad. Sorry, throwing ribbon. All right, I'm gonna put this over here and then I'm gonna grab the other supplies. What are some other, Annette, what are some things you've learned about wreath making in the last 2 years? Did I forget anything?
I like to put the swag and the ribbon like at 10 o'clock, but there are different positions where you can put it, correct?
Yes, you could go, if you have 2 doors, so if you have a left and a right front door, you can mirror that. So you could have one at 10 and one at 2 o'clock. Or if you like it in the center at the top, that's cool too. If you like it in the center at the bottom where your tails hang down, that's also totally awesome. Really, as I was telling all the designers, you know, I do how I do. I have a very natural, laid back style, but I have some really talented designers that do really lots of bling. So we all have our specialty. And it doesn't matter really. I'll give you the basics and then you can put your own spin on it, and that's what makes it pretty awesome. And tonight I've said awesome 3 times. Sorry. Okay, so everybody ready for the porch pot? You got all your supplies in front of you? I'm gonna take that as a yes.
Yeah, just to reiterate for Becca, if you do have a question, you can put it in the chat box, or there is something that allows you to like raise your hand on Zoom, and you can push that. I'm monitoring your names, and if I see that, then I'll unmute you and you can ask your question, or I can read your question.
Okay, can everybody see the pot both with my face and from above? Okay, perfect. So you got to start out, you got a spruce top, and that's what we're gonna start with. I'm gonna do a center spruce top with greens all around. You can also do your spruce top in the back and then put all of your greens towards the front. If nobody's gonna see the back of your pot except for like the door, like if it's on your porch, you're only gonna see the front of the pot. Even when I do that, I do like to do a center spruce top and put some skirting all the way around. Your first step would be, I say, cut off. There are varying degrees of spruce top. So if you have a spruce top that has lots of branches down here, but it has some holes up here, what you're gonna wanna do is cut off some of these bottom ones because you don't need them there. And then there's no such thing as a bad green, really. You're gonna put these guys in here and they're like, it's like they were growing from the tree still. Okay. Your next step would be the Fraser fir. And we get Fraser fir from several different sources. So there are several different shapes of branches that I have probably in your packet. We try to use almost every piece of the green as much as possible. There are some exceptions to the rule, but most of the time we try to use it all. Again, it's like you're pruning a tree. So you're gonna wanna make your cuts at the intersections. So for this guy, this is a long, weird branch, but there's definitely room to get some stuff out of here. So you're gonna make your cut right here at this intersection. The other cool thing about Fraser is that it has a green side and it has a more silvery side, and it can go upright or you can use it as part of your skirting. It's pretty sturdy, so it'll hold up some of the more less sturdy branching too. So I will take these and build a little bit of a skirt around the edge. And then I'm going to take this branch again down to an intersection. The one thing you should remember to do is keep one like thicker 8-inch length stem without branches for your bow. So make sure you save that because that's how you're going to get your bow to stay in your pot. So it does have a cut end, but once you get it in the pot, nobody will notice. And it just keeps adding volume. Again, I'm going to go at an intersection right here. I don't know if you can see that. And we're just going to keep building up around the outside. We tried to make these bundles as uniform as possible. If you find that you run out of greens, just give us a call and we will set some aside for you. But you should be fine. Because I'm going to use this one big branch and then just maybe 2 little branches, and that should be enough for this. As I work, I kind of turn it to see where the holes are. This guy's kind of silly, so I'm just going to cut these off here and use these longer ones. The more you can stick into the soil, the sturdier it's going to be. Like little bits sticking off the side are just going to fall out eventually, or freeze, and it'll be fine. Okay, so here's another branch, and I'm going to give it a cut again, probably here. I might save this stick for my bow then. There's a hole in my spruce top right here. So I'm going to take this one and kind of fill it in with that. Okay, I'm going to stick one more in and then we're going to leave the rest to see if I need to fill in any holes later. If you're working on 2 pots, you can do one first and then match it. Or if you are comfortable enough, you can do the spruce top in both of them and then the Fraser fir in both of them and so on and so forth. But whichever way is easier or for you is just fine. Okay. So the next is Leland or Port Orford, that flat cedar again. I'm going to show you if you've got some of these wild and crazy branches. I'm going to show you how much you can actually get out of here. So again, you're gonna cut on intersections. And on this guy, if you cut it at an angle and you put the stick in with the angle facing in, you cannot see the cut end. So some of this I'm gonna do upright and some of it I'm gonna use as more of the skirting part. So here, I don't know if you can see that, is a nice intersection to cut at. So now I've got this one. If you like this kind of wispy look, that's cool. Or you can, if you don't, you can make a nice angle cut and nobody will notice and it's gone. So this one I'm gonna go upright. I'm gonna do another few upright ones again. Here's another intersection to cut at. I just keep turning the pot. So when I was first started working here, I asked the people that brought the spruce tops, like all I could have envisioned was just a forest of trees without tops. And I thought that was silly and wasteful, but they're actually from the swamps of Minnesota and those are baby trees. So there's no forests anywhere without their tops on, just in case you were worried. So from that big branch, I got at least, I think I got 5 different things I can use inside the pot. I'm gonna go 6 because this is too big. The good thing about working in soil is if you do not like what you did, you can just take it out and put it back in. Okay, so that's pretty good for the top. Now I'm gonna do the, I'm gonna start doing the skirting. So these guys, same idea. Just make your cuts at intersections. Not sure what to do. Some of these that are a little bit flimsier, I tend to stick further back into the pot and further down. Just to give you the wide skirt, but also give it stability in there. Sometimes they get stuck. It's still gonna look like it has some holes at this point. We're not done yet, so it's okay. Okay. Again, I'm gonna save a little bit to make sure that I don't have any other thing, if I have any holes I need to fill up later. And my next step is gonna be the boxwood. So this is a great filler and it's very upright. So it's gonna kind of give you some volume around this center area. Again, you're gonna cut at intersections and you probably have a surprised at how full it gets and how much you can get out of one stem of boxwood. So wherever I see a relatively large hole in this area is where I start pushing in the boxwood. Oops. Okay, so I'm still kind of turning it around. I see that this boxwood right here is doing something weird, so I'm going to take it out and try again. I'm just going to turn it the other direction so it's not going this way. It's kind of going in up into the hole that was there. Okay, now it's time for the white pine. I do always save just a little bit of every green but before I'm done in case I need to add more. So nice soft texture. My one caution with this stuff is when it starts to dry as the season gets further along, it's gonna curl down like this. So I try to make sure that it's tucked in there and supported by the other greens that are around it, just to give it a little help. I also don't put like, these tips are pretty good. They're not too big. Something like this, I will definitely cut down before I stick it in there. And then this little guy, you could tuck in and have it be part of the skirting. Sometimes stems get in the way. You just kind of work around it until it goes in there. Am I forgetting anything, Annette?
No, it's looking good. Any questions?
They're all busy. They all have a drink in one hand and pruners in the other.
Very true.
Or just a drink in one hand. That's okay too. I am gonna put a little bit more of this white pine as some of the skirting. Just some of the smaller pieces. The pots that we gave you are designed to drop into your own container, but they're also not, they don't stand out too much. So you could just put this on your porch as well. I don't like that. Okay, next is the incense cedar with the pretty little beavers on it. This guy I like to use as more skirting around the edge, but you could also take a piece of it and make it part of your focal point in your porch pot. So I'm gonna look for this guy's best side. I'm gonna say, it's hard to tell, but this side has some nice greens and variegation. I'm gonna call this the front. So this guy I'm gonna try to get upright, or maybe somebody else. No, this guy will work. Hard for me to do this way, but we will see. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and then we move on to something else. So the cones and the bow and the berries will also help hold this up. Okay. And then this stuff this always comes in very strange branching. So you just kind of do your best, clip where you think you can clip the best. And actually this might work. This might work better for my centerpiece. That looks better. And the rest we're just gonna kind of randomly tuck around. It's not gonna be a full skirt of this yellow, but it is gonna give you some nice pops all the way around. If you can find a place where the Fraser branches and have it rest on top of the Fraser, it's a bonus. If you can't, it's also okay. It will create its own way. So I'm just kind of tucking it in. These guys, if you cut right at these intersections, I did not do that here, but if you do this, this will create some skirting too. And you won't even notice that end. Okay. At this point, we're pretty well done with the greens. So now I'm going to work on the center part, where your eyes go. I create kind of a visual triangle. So like your 3 cones and your sticks and your bow will create like sort of a visual triangle that will carry the eye through it. I'm going to start with the winterberry. And I think I'm gonna put it here. If you're doing 2 porch pots, you can do them the same, or like with the wreath, you could mirror it. So if I was doing 2, I'd put the winterberry on the other side in the other pot. I need to trim that a little. Sometimes the curvier sticks are trickier.
Becca, you may want to move your video from above over a little bit. Move the pot over a little bit. There you go.
Like this,
There you go.
I keep moving around. Oops. I'm gonna pull it out a little, so it's a little higher. Okay, so there's berries. Cones. I'm gonna put them kind of in a trio like this, where there's a tall and 2 shorts. Or you could also do tall, medium, and short. Sometimes it's just whichever one way the cones go in and look nice, to be honest. So I'm going to, I put one in. I'm gonna try to do this like this. And then I think the last one, I'm gonna have to do a little cut on the base of it. Start small, because you can go shorter, you can't go longer. Okay, there's the pine cones. Oops. And then sticks. So sticks is going to be the last thing before the bow. Depending on what kind of sticks you have, the glitter sticks and some of the painted sticks are tightly branched. So if you just take them and you stick them in your pot, you're going to have antlers. So I try to keep things upright for the most part. But again, you don't have to put this whole clump in there all at once. It's got a nice branch down here that I'm going to cut at the intersection. You can go as tall or as short as you want. So if you want the sticks to go above your spruce top, then you wouldn't cut very much off the bottom. If you kind of wanted them to tuck in around, then you cut some length off the bottom. You could do a little combination of both. So the little guy that I just cut off that branch, I can take and I can tuck over here. And I'm gonna add another tall one to up with the other guy. But I am going to give this one a little haircut first and use these someplace else. If you like a big statement up top, then don't do this. And then I'm going to take these little guys that I cut off and stick them in there too. And then I'm going to do the last one. I think it's going to be. Okay, so Hope that helps her. Now that I've done this, I can see like right here, I need to add a little bit more greenery of something, whatever I have left over. And then there's probably a little more right in the front, like drapey, I could add in front of these pine cones. And then there's kind of a little hole right here too. So I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to take right here, I'm going to add another bit of Fraser. Got a tiny little piece. It's going to go right there. And then I'm going to add a little white pine too, just for something different. And then right here, I'm going to add some of the cedar as the drapey. Just underneath I know it looks like a long branch, but that's okay.
Becca, we have a question wondering if they can purchase another kit, just greens and other decorative items, but not the pot.
I would just say that you would buy the greens here, because we do have the bundles of greens. It's about 2 bundles of greens, and you could get away with maybe a Fraser fir branch and a spruce top. Or you could, depending on the bundle of greens, you could get away with 3 bundles of greens. Excuse me, 1.5, one bundle. No, 2 bundles is a good number, but I don't have the kits for sale anymore. No, that is the question.
And the cost for a bundle of greens?
Is $11.99.
Thank you.
And then the different accents have varying degrees of cost. We actually just got in, if you only wanted 1 stem of winterberry, we just got in our single stem winterberry. It's here. It is from a local farm up in Woodstock, I believe. And that's also where we get the like mixed bundles of greens. Specialty mixed bundles of greens. It's this, she goes and she has like hundreds of evergreens and she cuts off the branches and prunes it for us and bundles them all up, and they're all different colors and shapes and sizes, and it's really cool. That one is $19.99, but then you get a nice mix of greens. Okay, so I'm going to put a little more drapey here. And then I think right here, I need to add something a little taller. Let's see what I have. Oh, have a little more boxwood. So I'm gonna do the boxwood in this little bit right here. And I think we're okay. And then it's time for the bow. A bit more back here. You can't see this part, but I'm adding another little bit back here. Nobody will know. Okay. So I'm gonna do my bow demo again. If you have a spool of ribbon at your house, I don't cut it till I'm done. It takes about 3 yards for a bow, but sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending on the number of loops you do. I think I'm going to go and make a nice big 7-loop bow this time. We're going crazy at 7 o'clock. So again, I pinch it really tight. And then I just make sure that they're roughly the same size. I could show you, oh, do I have any ribbon? I could show you how to do a double bow. And then I'll just do 5 loops. I'm going to add a little bit to it. If you've ever wondered how we get 2 colors together. Annette, do you have like a red in there?
Yes, I'll bring it back.
Okay, so that's bow number 1. Thank you. Maybe. No, it's good. Velvet is the thickest, hardest ribbon to work with. I'm not a fan. That's going to be a tiny bow. So for a back bow, normally I put tails on it, but I'm just going to do some loops. We're going to see how many loops I can get out of this ribbon. We're going to get 3 loops out of this ribbon. So then I take the other bow and I loop it through that again. We're good. We're improvising right now. Think so. And I just attach it to the back of the other one. Okay. So to get your bow stuck in your pot, you're going to find one of those sticks you saved from your branches. The natural sticks that come from the like the cut branches are the best because the wire will grab into that. Some of the sticks that the pine cones are on are old and dry, and the bows just kind of like slide right off, and then they blow away when there's a big winter storm. So I've got this really nice sturdy boxwood one. It might be too. I'm going to take sorry, I'm working away from the camera. Going to take one side of the ribbon and I'm going to, or excuse me, one side of the wire, and I'm going to wrap it all the way around. And then I'm going to take the other side and wrap it all the way around the opposite direction. And if you, this is a little excessive, but if you have like some cut branches at the top to help secure it from flying off the top, that's great. Excuse me. Then you just push it in there. And then you fluff it. And you're good to go.
And what about watering these?
So you're going to want to water them. Maybe not tonight because it's cold and dark, but tomorrow morning, give it a nice thorough soaking so the water comes out the bottom. And then you're going to watch it. If we get any more warm days, you might need to water it again. But once it freezes, it's freezing in place. So there's nothing more you can do. If you happen to have wilt proof at home or another one of those things that help evergreens retain their moisture over the winter, you can spray that on here and it will help it's like a waxy coating that helps them hold in their moisture over the winter. So that helps keep them longer. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a happy Thanksgiving this week and a Merry Christmas.